very late in 1980, very late, just before the Christmas holidays, I got a new board from Simon, and without warning he sent me down a board with 3 fins in it, and said, something new, try this out, I think it's going to work.
I'd been at the Stubbies, the event prior to Bells, and got knocked out early. I was riding a thruster in that event, got beaten by Morris Cole in round 1 at 1 foot over high tide over the rocks at Burleigh. So pretty inauspicious introduction to the surfing world for the thruster.
We couldn't believe how good the board was. It was fantastic, and that was all great. When I got back from those holidays, I contacted Simon. I said, these boards are great, shape me another one, but I want a bigger one for bigger waves. And he said, yeah, no, we can do that for sure.
You know, I had the new design, and Bells is pretty challenging, so I was happy to come down and try the boards out here. I had 3 boards with me, double flyer 6.1, single flyer 6.2, which is my all-round small wave board for 2 to 5 foot. Then I had a 6.6 clear board for anything bigger. And the thing about Bells, the previous 5 years we hadn't had a big swell, so you know, kind of weren't expecting anything too major.
It was the very infancy of 3 fins. Simon was riding them. He'd made a couple for me, and he came down at Easter, and we went free surfing before the event a few times together. And there was some good waves before the event that year, and we were out at Winky Pop one day, quite a big day, and I had my big wave 3-fin board out there. Simon had his big wave 3-fin board out there as well, and he wanted to swap with me just to try out mine compared to his.
One day at Winky, it was 3 to 5 foot, nice size. Steve Robbo was out there, long time acquaintance, and always gets boards off me, and he had ordered a similar 6.6 to the one that I had, and I saw him out there on it. It had a nice blue spray and it looked pretty good, so you know, good opportunity to try his board and just see what the difference was. And I could tell straight away that his board was better than mine.
And when we got out of the water at Winky Pop that day, he said, look, if we get a really big day during the event, I might grab this board off you and borrow it. And I said, yeah, no worries.
Steve Robbo's board became my board that I surfed on the big day.
It was a huge swell, but more than that, it had perfect offshore winds with it as well. So the actual whole of that morning was really, really special.
We didn't know how big it was going to be that day, and then getting to the top of the cliff and looking out, you could see it was pretty big. But it was super clean and a beautiful day, and the water, from memory, the water was nice colour blue. Most of the time it's like steely, greeny colour, but it was it was like perfect day with perfect waves that were pretty big.
Yeah, we felt like we had a connection with Simon going out on my board, and yeah, we were hoping he's going to win. I think when he paddled out, he actually got caught and broke his leg rope.
They were giving us 15 minutes prior to the start of our heat to paddle out, and if you got caught by set between the button and the bowl, the best method seemed to be just let the board take the heat, and then when the set had gone through, paddle out before the next set came in. But my leg rope broke, so I had to swim in, changed leg ropes, paddle back out, and I seem to recall getting out the very back with about 30 seconds to go.
I would consider 81 in the 12 to 15 feet category in the morning, and 12 to 15 feet, anything above 10 feet at Bells, it's a very serious wave. I think a lot of people don't realise just how serious Bells is at that size, because it's inside a bay, and that zone between the end of the wave at Bells and Winky Pop, where you finish your waves, you get caught in that zone. You've got to be a real waterman to get yourself through that. I don't care how good a surfer you are and all the rest of it. You get hit in that area by a set of big waves in the 10-foot range, and it's a serious area where you've got to know what you're doing to get yourself out of that area and back out the back. You do not want to be washed across the button into Winky Pot. And there's a famous local surfer, John Pawson, who died going across that button on that sort of day.
It was breaking way out the back, obviously, because it's pretty big, but it seemed to be breaking in a similar spot. It was like normally bells, you can be sitting right in the takeoff, and you can have a wave break 50 meters to the left of you and 100 meters out from you if it's a big set. But on that day it seemed to be breaking relatively in the same spot, so it was a lot more predictable. And it might have been a combination of the fact that it was so clean, but I believe there's a reef out the back there that when it's that size, 12 foot, it just starts breaking in that one spot. So that was nice. It meant that we could get into the waves with the relatively small boards that we all had.
The three fins set him apart. He was able to do way more on those waves, and the board hung in, even at 6.6, which was a big board for big waves in those days. It hung in, and he was doing his great arc turns, and he was getting scored accordingly, and yeah, it was great to see.
What the thruster did, which was graphic, I think, on the big day at Bells, was it gave you speed that you could connect through turns. So like the twin fin, it's very fast, but you could release that speed really quickly and couldn't really hold speed through the turn, primarily because of the looseness of the thing. And the single fin was very stable, but you couldn't really, unless it was big wave like Sunset or something, you couldn't really keep the speed going through the turn, and that's the added dimension that the thruster gave to surfing, was that ability to flow through the turns with speed, connect from your bottom turn up the face, do a big carve and keep your speed. And I think that was what that day showed graphically to the surfing world and why everyone got so excited.
Result of Heat 4 this morning was the event was between, in red, Terry Richardson, and white, Wayne Rabbit Bartholomew. And Terry Richardson having a fantastic ride on one of his final rides. Simon Anderson's up, folks, on the red, way inside, up into the tube maybe. That's a great wave. As we said earlier, Simon's a 6'4" fellow, and that's way over his head even in there. Under the tube. Giant wave. On a 6'6" board also. That's 2 inches bigger than he is. Huge wave. He's going to pull round it. Up into the pocket. What a wave. I'm sure this could be a high-scoring wave for Simon. Carving off the top. That's his 6'6" board.
And on that particular day, not only was he on superior equipment, he was on superior big wave equipment. So he had a short board 3 fin that was superior, but the true test is when the waves are big and the waves are perfect.
It's an iconic board precisely because that's when the surfing world took notice of the thruster design.